Hi there, online learners. So last week we did a lot of work and we're going to build off of that work this week. So last week with the review sheet, Big Birds, Big City, we did a lot of main idea work. And this week we're going to talk about summary. So just to review our main idea work, these are some of the things that you should already know how to do. You should know how to close read. You should know how to stop when your brain is full. You should know how to annotate by doing these kind of things. You should notice repeated ideas. You should notice those subheading titles, which really are the main idea of each section. So I think if you're ever stuck on the main idea and there's a subheading, I would look at that. That's really your main idea. You also noticed how to look at key vocabulary, and you always ask, what's the gist? What's the big idea here? And then you annotate or take notes. You also learn how to paraphrase your ideas, which means putting them into your own words. And then the other thing you started to do was synthesize. Synthesize is when you merge, connect, delete, and sort your ideas. And this is all happening inside of your brain, but you're pausing to do that work. And then, of course, you write it down. And then the final thing that you started to do was you started to write your main idea sentence, which is a subject, a verb, and a main idea of that section. All right. So if you are feeling really good about this, then our work today is learning how to put it all together in a summary. And if you think about the word summary, S-U-M, means sum, right? Which means total. So a summary is the total of all of our main ideas together. Now, you are going to be introduced to an organizer that looks like this delicious hamburger. Okay, so this is the summary burger and it's delicious. And your summary should look something like this. I'm going to teach you what this summary burger should be. Now, in order to do a summary, you have to know where the beginning, middle, and end of an article are. And we're not going to start with a big article right away. We'll start with some smaller text for you, and then we'll graduate to bigger articles. But you have to know where the beginning, middle, and end. You have to know how to synthesize your reading to capture the gist. You have to know how to write the main idea statements by paraphrasing. You are not allowed to include direct quotes or text evidence. We don't have that in summaries. And then you should be able to write a clear sentence that has no grammar mistakes or punctuation and things like that, but especially grammar. So let me talk to you about this this summary burger. So when you're writing a summary, your summary should have the following parts, okay? Now, the first part is a synthesized main idea of the beginning, and it follows that subject, verb, main idea formula. You should have a synthesized main idea of the middle, subject, verb, main idea. Now, some articles, you might need an extra middle because they're longer, so you could have 2 middles. And if it's a super long article, you may have 3 middles, but I think 1 or 2 is enough, especially for like a smaller article. And then the synthesized main idea of the end, okay? So we're gonna start off small by doing some test cards, okay? Test cards are an easy way to get into it so that when we do get to a harder piece of text that's longer, if you're able to do it with smaller test cards, then you can transfer that to the bigger passages. Okay, so here's what you're going to need today. In order to do these test cards with me, you're going to need to pause my video and take out your reader's notebook and a pencil. Go ahead and pause my video and get out your materials right now. All right, if you are ready to go and you've unpaused my video, let's get started. So our very first test card is right here. So in your notebook, I want you to put test card number 1 and title it Redwood Trees. Test card number 1, Redwood Trees. Okay, So go ahead and set up your notebook. You are always welcome to pause my video at any time that you need to. Now, the work that I'm asking you to do in your notebook is not optional. It is required. It's kind of like if you were in the classroom, if a teacher is teaching on the board and they asked you to write something down, that's the expectation. So online learning, same thing. All right, here we go. So I'm going to first read this task card. Then we're going to follow some steps on how to make a summary. And let's first read it, understand it. Then we will try to figure out the beginning, middle, and end. Here we go. The tallest trees on Earth are redwood trees. They only grow on the Pacific coast and can live more than 2,000 years. A redwood tree can grow more than 360 feet tall, yet their root system is only 6 to 12 feet deep. They can grow anywhere from 8 to 20 feet in diameter. Studies show that redwoods capture more carbon dioxide than any other trees on Earth, making them very important to the environment and the species of animals that depend on them. Okay, if you need to pause my video to read it again one more time, I would highly recommend you do that. Now, even though my test card has choices, I'm going to not look at the choices at all. I think that the best work you can do is doing it in your brain and then see if the choices actually match. So what I'm going to do right now is decide where's the beginning, where's the middle, where's the end. So this is easier to do in a small passage. When you get a longer review sheet, you'll have to figure it out, but this is relatively easy right here. Okay, so there we go. It's just a couple of sentences. I can tell where the beginning, middle, and end is. And honestly, I don't even know if I fully need this right there because I can probably synthesize just a couple of sentences easy. All right, here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is look at the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I'm going to capture those big ideas from the beginning, middle, and end. So I think the beginning is probably, I'm going to put a little period right here. Maybe that's the beginning right here. I think the middle is probably that one and maybe that one. And then the end is probably that one. So I just stuck little darker periods right there. Okay. What you can do with your pencil when you actually get task cards or a paper with longer stuff is actually write B, M, and E. So you can put those initials. All right, here we go. So every time I see a period where I'm going to stop at the beginning, I'm going to synthesize what I think is the main idea. The tallest trees on Earth are redwood trees. They only grow on the Pacific coast and can live more than 2,000 years. Okay, so the beginning, I feel like tallest trees equals redwood. And they live a long time, live for 2,000 years. Okay, now I did not write in complete sentences yet. If you feel like that's something you are ready to do, you could definitely take that and make that into a main idea sentence if you would like, right there. Or you can just keep going. I'm going to keep going. So the middle. A redwood tree can grow more than 360 feet tall, yet their root system is only 6 to 12 feet deep. They can grow anywhere from 8 to 20 feet in diameter. I don't know about you, but they keep talking about how tall it is over and over. So I'm just going to say it's tall trees. It's pretty simple. It feels like these two are the same idea, right? And I could probably synthesize and merge those when I write my final summary. Okay, last one. Here we go. Studies show that redwoods capture more carbon dioxide than any other trees on Earth, making them very important to the environment and the species of animals that depend on them. Now, this is important. It's saying that they help the environment and helps the animals because the animals depend on them. So for my end, important to the environment and animals that depend on them. Okay, hopefully you have these ideas written down as I was doing it. Again, you can always pause my video anytime you need to. Okay, so when we're talking about the steps to doing a summary, first we've got to number our paragraphs. This is a short task card, so I probably don't need to do that. We did decide where our beginning, middle, and end are. We didn't see any subheadings, so we're going to skip that. Step 2 is reading each section, noticing keywords. We did that. Step 3 was synthesizing the text by annotating. We did that. Step 4 is continuing to read and synthesize all parts. We did that because it's a short task card. Step 5, we're going to write off our final summary in paragraph form and then add in any transition words to help your writing flow. So a transition words are words that help connect your writing together, like first of all, in addition, also, furthermore, as you can see, in conclusion, finally. These are not all the transitions. You probably know way more than that, but that's a good list to get you started, and you're probably familiar with that from writing from last year. Then our final step is to read our summary out loud and check for grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. Normally, when you write a summary, if it's a beginning, middle, and end, you would have a beginning sentence, a middle sentence, and if you wanted an extra middle, you could, and then an ending sentence. So you would have 3 total sentences. Now, is it okay if you have 4 sentences? Yes, it is okay. As long as it follows that order, as long as it is all topic sentences, it's totally fine. Or what if you were like, I want to do a quick little intro at the front before I start my beginning? Absolutely. That would be fine. And if you wanted to do 5 sentences and throw in a conclusion at the very end, that would be fine too. Now, once it starts getting into 6, 7, 8, we're not doing a summary. Okay. So for something as short as this little task card right here, I think we can probably do this in 3 sentences or less. So let's get started. We have tallest trees, redwoods. They live a really long time, 2,000 years, tall trees. The ending was it's important to the environment and animals depend on them. So how can I write this in a summary sentence? So let's see if I can do that. Okay, so my final summary is going to be, here we go. So remember, we still want to follow subject plus verb plus main idea. So we know for each of these, my subject is going to be redwood trees, right? So I could have 3 sentences here if I wanted to. So let's see here. The beginning main idea would be, let's see, redwood trees are extremely tall and live for 2,000 years. Now they're saying in the middle that it's also tall, so I don't need to really repeat that because I've already captured that idea. So now I can go to the end. Important to the environment and animals that depend on them. So I'm going to say, let's try a transition word that'll connect these 2 ideas. This is an extra idea about how it's important. I would say also redwood trees are important to the environment and the animals that depend on them. Okay, so do I have the main idea from the beginning, middle, and end? Here's the beginning. Here's the middle also. It's about being tall. And here's the end. Okay, so my final step is to read it out loud. Let me get my list here. My final step, step 6, read your summary out loud and check for grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and any spelling errors. So here we go. I'm gonna read it out loud. Redwood trees are extremely tall and live for 2,000 years. Also, redwood trees are important to the environment and the animals that depend on them. Now, did that do a pretty good job of capturing the main idea? Let's see which of these multiple choice questions match that. Okay. A, redwood trees are the most important trees for the environment. Many animals depend on them. Now, if you look at that one, and I'm going to do this on a new dry erase board, choice A, is that the summary of the entire passage? Or is that just one section? Redwood trees are the most important trees for the environment. Many animals depend on them. I think that's not the right answer because it only gave information from the end. So that's not a summary. Remember, a summary has beginning, middle, and end. It's got to have all three. So A is out for me. Look at choice B. The roots of the redwood tree should grow deeper since they are such tall trees. Now, wait a minute. I feel like that's just a small minor detail. That's not even like a main idea. So choice B for me, that's not even a main idea statement. That's out of there. Only one left, but let's see if it's right. Redwood trees are some of the tallest trees on earth and are very important to the environment. They can live for almost 2,000 years and grow up to 360 feet tall. Now, I think choice C captures all of the main idea from the beginning, middle, and end. I think if I had to improve this main idea, I probably would not care about how tall they get. I think these two sentences capture it, and they're almost exactly like the one that I wrote. Okay? So what I want you to do when you get these task cards and you're trying these on your own, which you're about to do, I do not want you to look at the answer choices. I only want you to do the strategies that we learned today, okay? So I want you to do this exactly like how we practiced today. Good luck.